Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's very special webinar, Why Credit Karma is Critical to Client Financial Education. I love all of our presenters. I feel that we're very fortunate to have the caliber and quality of people in this field sharing this information with us on a regular basis. But today is particularly special. Our two speakers from Credit Karma have done just a fabulous job with their presentation. So Bethy Hardiman and Charmaine Nick will join us in just a few minutes. They are in sunny San Francisco. Well, I'm assuming it's sunny. It's sunny here in Asheville, North Carolina. For those of you who have not been with us in the past, and we do have a great attendance today, I will just let you know that up in your right-hand corner there is a rectangular box, and you can see that if you have a question to ask, you can submit it there. You can also minimize the box in order to see the full slides if that's what you'd like. And if I ask any questions, that also becomes the answer box if you have answers for all of us. And today's agenda is exactly starting what I'm doing. I'm welcoming everyone. I will spend 2 to 3 minutes telling you a little bit about financial social work because we always have people who join us for the first time at a webinar. Then you'll be very happy to learn all about why Credit Karma is critical to client financial education. And there are many reasons, I can assure you. Next. I will just share one slide with you on our financial social work certification, and we will finish with questions and answers. You can submit your questions during the session in case you're anxious to do so or afraid you'll forget it, but they will be answered at the end. I have 2 polls for you, and we'll see if there's an occasion to have you raise your hand. I do love a more interactive session. So we'll begin with a poll. How many people in our audience already have a Credit Karma account? Let me put that poll up and I will launch it. Okay, interesting. Wow. It's a pretty even split. Okay. All right. 80% of you have voted. Anybody else want to get in there? Well, 83% of you. I will count down 5 seconds and close it and share it with you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think that our speakers will be very pleased to learn this. Okay. Okay. So let me share it with you. So a little over half of you have one, and you can see the other half doesn't. Those of you who do, I think will be as surprised as I was. I do have a Credit Karma account, but when we rehearsed for this the other day, I can tell you now I had, and I told you I was supposed to remove that extra T in account. Sorry about that. When we rehearsed this, I learned so much more about Credit Karma. I had no idea that all of these services were available. So I think everybody on the session is in for a wonderful surprise to learn how many wonderful tools Credit Karma offers for those of us trying to provide clients with financial education, financial capability. So I just want to begin with a few slides to let everyone know what financial social work is. Our mission, we help men and women begin the journey to sustainable long-time financial behavioral change. And our goal is to contribute to personal, professional, and financial change It is a behavioral model, and I believe that's what makes it so special. And it is all about ongoing education, well, first engagement, education, motivation, validation, and support. And that is totally because that's what people need to create sustainable long-term financial behavioral change. It's highly experiential, strength-based, heavily psychosocial. It's interactive and introspective. And the financial behavioral change, where it really happens, it's our relationship with our money. And if you think about your relationship with your money, you'll understand that's what drives your financial behavior. And financial behavior, the way we spend, save, earn, and share, that's what determines our financial circumstances. And this is just a small sampling of some of our agencies who have certified staff, and there are thousands of them. So our last poll before handing it over to Credit Karma is about where you, oh no, I didn't hide that. Okay, well, sorry about that. So here's our second and last poll. Where are you located? Let me launch that. It's always just very interesting to see where everybody's from. In recent webinars, we've had people from South Africa, Italy, Israel. Can't remember every place. Okay, we are heavily Southern today. Okay. All right. 89, 90% of you have voted. So we are very state-bound, United States-bound today. I will, nope, that's not what I wanted to do, is it? I wanted to close it and share it with you. So you can see more people from the South, but we're pretty spread out across the country. So this time I will hide this poll, and now I will turn it over to our speakers who can just introduce themselves and tell you a little about themselves and what they do. Oh, yay, pictures this time. You ready out there?
We are ready.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for having us, Rita, and we're very happy to join all of you out there all over the country. Like Rita said, we're in sunny San Francisco, and it is sunny today. My name is Bethy Hardiman, and I'm the consumer advocate for Credit Karma. So I do a lot to communicate to our members educational resources and spread the word about Credit Karma in various ways. And I'll turn it over to Charmaine to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Charmaine Ng. I'm the communications coordinator at Credit Karma. I've been here a little over a year, and I work with a team of writers and editors to create financial content for all of you and help spread the knowledge.
Yeah. So again, we're very excited to be here, and just to get started, it sounds like a lot of you already know a lot about Credit Karma, but we wanted to do a little introduction on what is Credit Karma. So Credit Karma is a website that was founded in 2007. We offer free credit scores, credit management, financial account management services for now almost 25 million members. So we're definitely excited to see that growth and a lot of people taking control of their credit and finances. As I mentioned, we provide free credit scores. Our scores come from TransUnion, which I'm sure many of you have heard of, one of the 3 major credit bureaus. And we are a one-stop shop for personalized recommendations. So when you're logged into Credit Karma, you have your credit information right there. We're able to use all of the historical approval data we have to tell you what kinds of loans you might be able to get, what types of credit cards, and to give you some tips and suggestions on what you can do as a next step to improve your credit and financial health. Next, we think this is really important to highlight that we take safety and security very seriously. We know that when you're logged into Credit Karma, you have a lot of your personal information stored with us, and we don't take that lightly. So we use 128-bit encryption, which is similar to the type of security that you might see on your bank's website when you're logged into your bank. And we also have read-only access. That means that when you're on Credit Karma, although you can monitor your financial accounts, you can't transfer balances or move money around, and I think that's an important note to make as well. You can read more about our security practices on our site. And of course, all of our services are completely free. We very much believe that it is a basic consumer right to have access to your credit data. Your credit scores and credit report information is used to make very serious lending decisions about you, and also other kinds of decisions, employment decisions, whether or not you'll get approved for an apartment. So we think that you should have access to that data, and we think that it should be free. Okay, what does Credit Karma offer? As I mentioned, truly free credit scores. So we won't ask for your credit card information, which I think this is really important for you all to share with your clients. There are certainly a lot of sites out there that ask for credit card information up front, give you a free trial, and then you have to come back to cancel. We don't deal with that kind of model. Again, we believe that it should be free. We also offer free credit monitoring, so we'll keep an eye on your TransUnion credit report on a daily basis and alert you if something important changes, like a new account opened in your name, a new credit inquiry, something like that, and you'll get that information as soon as it hits your credit report. We also have something that we call the credit report card. So that breaks out the main factors that influence your credit score, and we'll walk through that in a little more detail later. Your credit history, so as long as you're a member with Credit Karma, you can track your score over time, see kind of where you started, how far you've come, and how much farther you need to go to reach your financial and credit goals. And as I mentioned before, we have personalized recommendations and offers from partners who share our vision. So we're partnered with the largest banks and credit card issuers, and we really show you only those offers that we have a confidence that you'll be approved for, and that will be best suited to your financial needs. And you can also, as I mentioned before, monitor your financial accounts with Credit Karma. So this is really great for budgeting purposes, and especially for a lot of your clients who are trying to get back on their feet or sort of start from ground zero or something that may have happened to them. They really need to take back control and know what's going on in their finances. They can monitor their transactions in their bank accounts on Credit Karma.
All right, so now we're going to go through a demo account so you can see all the features that Beppy just presented to you. So, one second. So here is Susie's account. This is the Credit Score Center. This is where you would see all 4 of your credit scores that come from TransUnion. This is your TransUnion new account score. This is your Vantage score, which is based off a scoring model that was created by all 3 of the credit bureaus. It's a little different from your typical FICO score. You only need like 1 month of credit history to have a Vantage score. It looks back at 24 months of your credit history. So it's great. It's used by some of the top lenders in the country. We also have auto insurance score and the home insurance score. These insurance scores are used by lenders when they're calculating your insurance premiums. It's just one factor of many that they look at, and it's only based on your credit history. It doesn't account for your driving record or any tickets you might have accumulated. It's purely used to predict the likelihood that you will file an insurance claim. We think those are important scores to look at, so we present them here. If you come back every month, you can track how your score has increased or how it's changed over time. Down here we have the credit report activity, where we pull out the changes that might have happened to your credit report between the times that you've logged into your account. And this is a cool little tool where you can compare yourself to other members. located in any state, any age range. It's just a fun little fact that lets you, see how you're doing compared to other Credit Karma members. And here is the credit report card. It's personally my favorite feature of the website. As Bethy said, I need to log back in.
As an additional security feature, if you're idle for a while or you're on the same page, we automatically log you out, which is good if you have a shared computer at home.
So here's the credit report card. As Bethy said, it breaks down the important factors that influence your credit score, and we rank them here by how important they are. So first off, we have the credit card utilization, which is your total monthly credit card balances divided by your total credit limit. So here I spent $3,000 in a month, but my total credit limit was almost $11,000. So my utilization is still pretty low and it's still pretty healthy. Here, again, we have these handy graphs where you can track how you're doing in each factor over time and then also compare yourself to other members. Next, we have payment history, which is really important for lenders to look at because it shows how reliable you are and meeting your bills and being able to pay them off on time. So here we show how many you've paid on time out of the total payments that you were required to make. Third, we have derogatory marks. These include public records like bankruptcies, tax liens. If you have open accounts and collections, these will show up here. And interestingly enough, if you had an account in collections, we would be able to show you that too in this account. You would have a dedicated page to collections accounts. You would be able to see the original creditor if it was still open or still closed, and your current balance, and you would be able to see, also track the balance history there too. We think this is important because if you have accounts and collections, they're easy to get mixed up. They can be sold to many different agencies over and over. So this page sort of helps you collect all that information in one place and recommend certain actions. Next up, we have age of credit history. It has a medium impact on your credit score. It basically averages the age of your open credit card accounts. It does not account for any closed accounts. And this is just another thing that lenders look at to see how experienced you are at handling your credit over time. And next up we have total accounts. It has a low impact on your credit score, but it shows creditors how many people have trusted you enough to grant you a form of credit. So we show you your open accounts and your closed accounts. And credit inquiries are fairly important. Hard inquiries are placed on your credit file anytime you apply for credit, and a creditor has to pull your credit file. So this shows lenders like how often you are requesting credit, and that sort of indicates and prompts questions about why you need credit. So that is pretty awesome. And then we have recommendations. As Bethy said, they're personalized to your credit situation. Here we go. And then we show you how much money you could potentially save if you take each step. So here I'm being recommended to transfer my credit card balances, consolidate them, get rewards cards. And then you can also see why we're recommending this action, which I think is important so that you understand why we're doing this. It's not just that, oh, I can save $179, I'm going to take this offer. You can sort of see why, and it's all broken down for you here. And we also break down what your approval odds are, and we use the Credit Karma member data to come up with these approval odds for you. On a similar note, you can search for all kinds of offers for credit cards and all types of loans. You can tell us if you're looking to transfer a balance, earn rewards, whatever you want. And you can also define all sorts of filters. Say you're just looking for a Capital One credit card. We'll show you that we have a Capital One Platinum Prestige credit card here for you. and you could save $781 over 3 years. And you can also see more savings details and how we calculated that information. Next up, we have reviews on our site. We have, as we said, millions of Credit Karma members who want to share their feedback and their experiences with people. So we have those over here, and similarly, we have a credit advice center where our community of Credit Karma members, they share their questions and their financial knowledge with each other. We really want to, empower members to help each other because, there's a lot that there might be something we don't know about, but there's a Credit Karma member out there who can help you. We also have some fun financial tools. The debt repayment calculator is pretty cool. It'll show you how long it takes to pay off your credit card debt and how much money you might need to pay each month to reach your goal. One of our most popular tools is the Credit Score Simulator. It shows you how a certain financial action might affect your credit score. So say I want to open a new credit card with a $5,000 credit limit. Then I can simulate my score. And sometimes we're unable to. Sometimes there could be a temporary error, or there might be something specific to my credit report, and that's when you can contact our support team for more information. There might be something specific going on, but let's see, what else could I do? I could open a mortgage for $8,000, which would be a really cheap house. Wish that was possible. And then sometimes I might not be able to do that either. But if you were able to, you would be able to see that here. And this is just, this is just to see like the potential impact on your credit score. Of course, it's not guaranteed or anything, but it's sort of just like an interesting tool to see like how financial actions can impact you. And we also have a blog and we have articles. As I mentioned earlier, our team of writers and editors pump out these articles every week to better educate our members and consumers. Anybody can read these articles. You can share them with your friends if you felt like. We talk about mortgages, student loan debt, and then basic things like defining what a derogatory mark is. We think those things are important to talk about. So if you're just curious and you want to kind of expand your knowledge, the article section is where you would go. Okay. Great. So we definitely encourage those of you that are already Credit Karma members to go through and explore all those areas of the site yourself. And if you're not, to sign up and check them out or walk through them with your clients. So next, just wanted to talk through some very specific reasons why Credit Karma can help you and specifically help your clients. So first and foremost, as we mentioned before, you can track your credit health with Credit Karma. So not only can you see your credit score over time and how it's changed, but you can also see those different factors that influence your credit score that Charmaine walked us through and see how those are changing over time. So this will show you kind of where you need to go. And for your clients, especially, as I mentioned before, who are maybe starting from ground zero or have had some financial mishaps in the past and really need to get back on track, we've found that consumers who come back to Credit Karma regularly actually see an increase in their credit score. And what I really think that means is that it's on the top of their mind. They set up a monthly reminder or something like that to come back to Credit Karma, and just sort of reminding yourself to do that can really help you take back control of your financial and credit life. Okay. Next up, and we think this is really important, is that Credit Karma can help you catch credit report mistakes and inaccuracies. The FTC did a study a little while back that found that 25% of credit reports can contain errors, and some of those errors can be seriously impacting your credit health. So if you have an account, a delinquent account on your credit report that doesn't belong to you, that is there in error, that could really be impacting your credit.
that could really keep you from getting approved for credit in the future. So Credit Karma will show you the information on your credit report and also send you those alerts, as we said, in your email when something changes. And so you can say immediately, okay, everything's going fine, this is all as expected, or I don't recognize this account, and Credit Karma helps you investigate that further and figure out what you need to do. And we also have articles and information on how to dispute errors when you do find them. Next up, you can monitor your real-time spending. And I mentioned this a little bit in the beginning, but if you connect your financial accounts to Credit Karma, so that's not only your credit cards. We know that some people don't have credit cards. You can connect your bank accounts, savings accounts, anything that you have an online login for, and you can track your transactions. So you can also catch inaccuracies there, make sure that all of your transactions are how you expect. And we can also send you alerts about your different accounts. So we'll alert you when a bill is due or when you pay a fee, which is something that I think is really helpful because it's really easy to keep using an account and not realize that you're being charged an account maintenance fee, for instance. We'll help you catch that, identify where those leaks are, and plug them up. Okay, find smarter and better deals. So as we've mentioned, Credit Karma really believes in empowering you to make better financial decisions, and part of that is guiding you through the decision-making process. So showing you those products that you are more likely to qualify for, and also showing you the products that you're likely not to qualify for so that you don't get an additional hard credit inquiry just because you didn't know. I think specifically for the clients that you're dealing with, you know, a lot of them are trying to take back control, as I mentioned, and maybe starting with credit in the lower range. And for those types of individuals, we usually recommend a secured credit card, which is a card that you back with a financial cash deposit of your own, and then that deposit is used as your credit limit. So it reports to the credit bureaus, it helps you build credit, and after you've been using a secured card responsibly for, say, 6 months or so, then you can come back to Credit Karma and see if you qualify for an unsecured credit card, just a standard credit card product. And we really think that, you know, as Rita was mentioning at the beginning, this financial behavioral change is a big part of that, and Credit Karma can kind of walk alongside you in that process. Okay, so why should I use your site? This is a really great question, and probably a question that, you know, you'll get a lot. Your credit score, as I mentioned before, is a huge factor in your financial life. So maybe you're not planning on getting a mortgage tomorrow or even in the next 6 months, but if that's in your future plan, then it's really important to start monitoring your credit today to see where you are, see where you need to be. Say if the mortgage is 5 years down the road, you still need to start today and just know what's going on in your own credit life. As I mentioned before, the more you kind of pay attention to your score and know what's going on in your own finances, the better decisions you'll make. We think that just keeping it top of mind, being aware of it, you know, you don't have to come back every day. In fact, that, you know, might be kind of burdensome for some people, but checking back on a monthly basis and just making sure everything's all right and making sure that you're moving toward those goals is really important. And tracking your personal finances with the Credit Karma account monitoring feature can help you make smarter, better decisions about your money. If you know where your money is going and know where those leaks are, then you'll think twice before, you know, making a frivolous purchase or spending more money than you should on something that you don't really need.
So if you're interested in using our site, you can access our site at www.creditkarma.com on your desktop and mobile browser. And we also have a free app for iOS and Android devices. They're great for, you know, when you're on the go or you're just not near a computer and you feel like checking your credit score, or you can check your monthly reported balances. On the iOS app, you can look at personalized recommendations and offers like we walked through earlier. You can set up push notifications for credit monitoring. You can do all the things that you could do on the website, but right on your phone. So if you have any questions, you can email me at the email address on your screen, or you can tweet us at Credit Karma. Okay.
That was great. Go ahead and pass it back to me, and I'll do my last slide. And we do have a bunch of questions. Okay.
Great, we love questions.
Okay, I'm going to show my screen. Okay, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. I think it was, I know when I heard it the first time in the practice, I just was really so excited by all of the ways that we can use that score to help clients learn more about, well, use Credit Karma to learn more about money, money management, credit cards, and credit card debt. So for those of you who are new to financial social work, and to the rest of you who come to our webinars because you know that they're always filled with information and worthwhile, our certification is a 5-workbook program that is self-paced and self-studied. You have 6 months to complete it, and there is an online exam that you have 2 weeks to complete. And it includes it includes 20 CEUs from National NASW, which I couldn't see because that rectangle was not minimized, and the cost is only $495. So we will go to the Q&A, and we have a lot of questions, and I'm betting that we're going to get a lot of answer. Okay, let's start with the first ones. Here's someone who was upset because her personal report card took her from an A to a C on Credit Karma when she paid off all of her credit scores. And she was upset, and I think perhaps disappointed that her score went down. Can you explain that, why that might have happened?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, I think it's important to know that the credit report card on Credit Karma, those letter grades are grades that we generate. So those letter grades themselves are not influencing your credit score. How those work is we're looking at you in comparison to all other Credit Karma members and contextualizing you within that population. So it's just a different way to look at the data. Now, my guess is, not being able to look into this individual's specific situation, and there could be kind of a lot of factors going on, my guess is that this person paid off some debt, closed an account, and that's what dropped her credit score, or his or her credit score some. And that is something common that happens, and it is frustrating. How credit scores work, while we have a lot of it figured out and can kind of understand the basic factors of credit scores, how the model actually works is not something that is really well defined. So it can sometimes seem unfair or unjust, but we think that there's a way to kind of use that information to your benefit. So it doesn't mean that you should go out and open another account because your score dropped a few points. It's just the way the model works. It also doesn't mean that you're less likely to be approved for credit if you need it in the future, because you have that positive payment history on your account, and that stays on there for a long period of time. So again, these fluctuations in credit scores, they happen all the time. Your credit score, while it doesn't usually change daily, it can change very often, or it can stay the same for a long period of time. So I think you need to look at your credit score and your credit health in the larger context of your financial life, not one single instance that happens because of one action.
And also, to the best of my knowledge, it's recommended that you not close any accounts, correct?
That's really going to depend on the individual situation. Like I said, even if an account is closed, you're still going to receive the benefit of the positive payment history you have on that account. So that sort of traditional advice of keep all of your credit card accounts open is really going to depend on the context. For instance, if you have a credit card that has caused you to overspend in the past because it has a high credit limit, or it's for your favorite store, for instance, and you're actually spending more money than you should, then maybe closing that card is the right thing to do in that moment because it will help you save money in the long run. The whole point of having a credit score and building your credit score to a healthy number is to save money. So by keeping a card that may cause you to spend or has an annual fee, that's costing you money in the long run, and that's not really reaching the goal of you having a good credit score.
Well, that was an excellent answer. Thank you. Do you offer a lender score or an educational score? These scores can differ by over 100 points, and the educational score doesn't really give people useful information for borrowing purposes.
That's a really great question, and I think first of all, it's really important to know that you have literally dozens, maybe even hundreds of different credit scores. So anywhere you check your credit score, they can't guarantee you that that's the score that any particular lender is looking at. The TransUnion New Account Score that we use is a real credit score from TransUnion. It's more of an educational score, but the Vantage score that we use is a score that lenders use, and actually quite a few lenders use it, and I think that's because it's a score, it's a newer score, but it's a score that was collaborated on by all three of the credit bureaus that is much more predictive of whether or not you'll pay back your loans over the long time. So I think that you know, concentrating on trying to find the one true score that every single lender is going to check is an impossible feat to accomplish. So again, it's about looking at your credit score from whatever source you choose. We really think it should be a free source. You don't need to pay for your credit score. But looking at your credit score from whatever source you choose and looking at it in the greater context of your financial and credit health, and looking at those individual aspects of your credit report and your credit score factors is what really matters.
That was interesting. I didn't understand that about the Vantage score. Thank you. Okay, this person wrote, I love your site. I teach financial education, and the ability to access scores in education in private is huge. Clients are much more open. And that's why we wanted to have Credit Karma with us today, and thanks for sharing that. Okay, is the credit score the actual true TransUnion FICO score? I think you answered that. Okay, my long-term credit card does not report to TransUnion. Should I contact TransUnion or the credit card provider?
That is a really good question, and I'm really impressed that that you caught that it wasn't reporting to TransUnion. That's really a keen observation. So this goes back to kind of a larger thing of not all lenders reporting to all three credit bureaus. You can try to go to TransUnion. That's probably not going to be as helpful as going to your lender directly and, you know, petitioning them, asking them nicely if maybe they would consider reporting to TransUnion. There's no guarantee that they'll decide to do that, and that's, you know, that's unfortunate. It costs them money to report to the different credit bureaus, and they may choose to report to one or two and not all three for some particular business reason that they have. But I think it's always worth asking, and, you know, what have you got to lose?
Thanks. That was good. Okay. How often are scores updated? And if it is monthly, is it at the beginning of the month? I'll let you answer it. I think I know the answer.
You can come back and update your score every 7 days. We encourage members to come back at least once a month because it's not likely that your score will change in a week, but you can definitely do that, and we'll pull your credit report information at that time.
Here's a question that sounds familiar, mostly because I kind of asked it to you the other day. If it's all free, how do you get paid?
So we partner with trusted partners, you know, some of the biggest credit card issuers and loan providers in the country. So we partner with them to provide those personalized offers. And if you happen to take one of those offers, then maybe we make them a little money. But that's pretty much it. And we think that's a good compromise. We don't have a lot of banner ads on the site because we don't want to intrude on your experience on our site. So we don't make a whole lot of money through advertising, but we try to offer something beneficial to our members.
Yeah, and just to add a quick note to that, Rita, particularly for the clients that you're serving, we think that a lot of them don't know where to go and don't know what options to take, and a lot of them are living paycheck to paycheck or not bringing in enough money to begin with, and so they tend to sometimes go to these predatory lenders or payday lenders that are really going to cost them a lot of money in the long run and put them into this sort of unhealthy cycle of borrowing and paying exorbitant interest rates or fees. And so we actually have quite a few loan partners that are trying to inject themselves into that space, that are recognizing that there needs to be somebody serving these consumers who are only given this predatory option. And so I think that's a really important point, that if you do need money and you don't have a family or a family member or friend you can turn to, there are other options out there, and we can show you what those other options are.
So what might that look like? What might that look like?
Yeah, so it's basically just the kind of lending model. There are some different. These are more like short-term personal loan providers that tend to qualify lower credit score borrowers, but like I mentioned, don't have that sort of payday lending model or exorbitant interest rates. They recognize that there's nobody really in between that type of model and a regular personal loan that requires higher credit. So it's a really new thing in this space, and it's interesting to see kind of how that will evolve over time. I know there are other lenders exploring different kinds of factors for qualifying borrowers, like sometimes your social activity online, things like that, kind of
right.
a lot of very new things. But I think it's important to recognize that you don't have to go that payday option.
Well, my concern there is that there are very traditional banks doing their own form of predatory lending. So
that's very true.
That's not a good thing. Why would an account that has been closed show open with a 0 credit limit on Credit Karma?
So that could be because TransUnion is reporting to us that that account is still open. We only show you information that TransUnion is sending us. Unfortunately, sometimes there can be errors, some things that slip through the cracks, and we encourage our members to go directly to TransUnion or to their credit card issuer and sort out any problems. You might have to file a dispute, or you could just contact your issuer and see if maybe they happen to report an account incorrectly and see if they can correct that for you with the credit bureau.
I have heard people comment that if you don't want to pay to find out your score, you can go to Credit Karma and they will give you a score for free. It won't be your actual score, but it will get you in the ballpark, so you at least know kind of where your score is at. Is this true, or is Credit Karma the same score as TransUnion?
It is a score straight from TransUnion. I think, again, the misunderstanding here is that you have one credit score that every lender is going to look at. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys in attendance today are familiar with the FICO score. But what you may not know is that there are, I think there was actually recently a study done that there are 49 different FICO scores. And so you can't be sure which one of those your lender is going to look at. And I think I would drive myself crazy trying to find one score that kind of one score to rule them all, I guess. But again, that goes back to looking at a bigger picture than just your score. You know, every lender is going to look at different factors. You probably know that when you apply for a credit card, the score is a piece of it, and then they're also going to look at your debt level, your income level. They want to know how much debt you're paying back monthly and how much additional debt you could take on in that kind of revolving credit line. So there are all these other factors that I think are really important for you to explain to your clients so that they're not fixated on trying to understand one single score.
Did you mention that Credit Karma allows you to do a credit dispute on their website?
You can't do a dispute directly from Credit Karma, but we do have articles and educational resources that will walk you through the process and tell you the steps that you need to take. Most of the credit bureaus allow you to dispute directly online. In some cases, you may have to sign up for a service with them that you may have to pay for. So if that's the case and you're not comfortable doing that, we have instructions on how you can dispute by writing a letter, sending your proof of information, getting it certified so you know that they've received it, and make sure you follow up.
This one says Credit Karma versus Credit.com versus Quizzle versus Credit Sesame.
So you just want a kind of a rundown of
I guess she's saying why Credit Karma instead of these other free sites.
You know, why not all of them? So, I mean, honestly, you know, I think you should use as many resources as are going to be useful to you and as you're comfortable using. Right now, everyone uses kind of a different model. I know that Credit Sesame has premium services that you have to sign up for if you want some of the features that they have. Quizzle's the same way. They all use different bureaus. So it just really depends on what you're looking for. And if you're looking for multiple places where you can make sure that all of your information is correct across those different sources, I'd go for it.
Thanks. What information of your members do you share with other organizations or businesses?
That is a really, really good question. So we don't do anything like send your email addresses out to people, and you can read kind of all the details of this in our privacy policy in terms of use, of course. But whenever you're shown an offer on Credit Karma, that's all on Credit Karma. So we're looking at you in aggregate with all Credit Karma members that look like you to show you that offer. And then you can decide whether or not to take it. And when you do that, then you'll fill out an application with that partner or that credit card issuer, for instance. But that's you submitting your information separately. So we don't sell your information. We don't share it by, you know, giving away email lists or anything like that. That's, you know, we're not in the business of doing that. We think that you can get what you need on Credit Karma, and then you can be empowered to make those decisions.
Can Credit Karma get a credit score for clients who have great difficulty obtaining a copy of their free credit report? I assume this means that perhaps clients with little, if this person that asked the question wants to clarify it, you can. And I'm assuming you mean that they don't have a credit history. But other than that,
so I think I can answer.
Oh, okay, great.
It is going to depend on the individual situation. Some people, they have what's called a thin credit file, which means there's not enough credit information on their credit report history to generate a credit score. So, and that's probably going to be the case for a lot of people who haven't bothered with credit cards or mortgages or anything like that. In those cases, they won't be able to pull a credit score from Credit Karma because there's not enough information, but they can fill out the information, and then when they get to that page that says we're unable to pull your score for this reason, they can click to be alerted when they have a credit score available, and we'll be checking periodically for them. So I think that's part of the financial behavioral change that you were talking about in the beginning, Rita, that if these individuals have the goal to eventually own their own home or build their credit health to a certain place, maybe they are literally starting from zero, and it's just moving along at a pace that eventually they can come to Credit Karma and get their credit score. But it's also important to know that a lot of our educational resources are free and available for anyone to use, whether they have gotten their credit score on Credit Karma or not. They can use our credit advice section. They can read through our articles. They can use our calculators. And a lot of that will help them move toward getting a score eventually.
I think this really question really goes right to exactly what you're talking about. A client recently told me her response from Credit Karma was a thin file, and she could not get a score. If you don't have a credit history, there is no score.
Exactly. Yep.
And I would hope that everyone on this call knows, the 5 components of a FICO score and understands that the history component is an important one, which is why I thought that everything I've ever read was, do not close any accounts. Keep them open, even if there's a zero balance. But I will bow to your suggestions earlier, I promise.
Okay.
What known agencies use Credit Karma when determining whether or not to extend credit to an applicant?
So lenders use they could use any sort of credit score. As we talked about earlier, there are dozens of credit scores. For example, Capital One could pull a specific credit score from Experian. Bank of America could pull a credit score from Equifax. But they're not going to pull a Credit Karma score. The score that you see on Credit Karma is specifically for your use. Only you will see your score and your account. A lender can't see that type of information, so they won't use it. But we still feel like it gives you a good idea of where you are and where you're headed, and we still think it's important.
Is it true that some bad debt which has been paid off or settled for less can be expunged from the report prior to the 7-year timeline?
So that's really going to depend on the individual's situation. In most every case, if it's debt that belongs to you, it's not on your credit report erroneously, then you likely can't get it removed before that 7-year period is up. I would even say that there are a lot of credit repair services out there that promise that they can remove every negative mark from your credit report, and if they're promising that and then they're asking you for money up front, I personally would not use that service. They can't promise to move negative information that is accurate information. However, if there's negative information that's inaccurate, or maybe you have in writing that you agreed that the creditor agreed to put paid as agreed instead of settled, which is a difference, and you have that in writing and you can kind of prove that that's inaccurate, that's different. But for the most part, it's all about time. Your credit health, repairing your credit health especially, takes time. It's a lot easier to build from zero than to build from a repair state. And so in most cases, you're going to need to take that time, and a lot of time it takes that time, I'm saying time a lot, but a lot of time it takes that time to change those financial habits and really enact change in your financial behavior.
If you reaffirm in if you reaffirm a collection agency account at 6 years and reaffirm and can be sued, will it remain on credit report after 7 years? I don't know what reaffirm refers to.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, and I would also say that we're really not here to give individualized credit advice, and that's really not the purpose of our service. So, in that particular situation, I would definitely recommend that you consult a financial professional or a legal professional that's skilled in those types of accounts. Or you can come to Credit Karma and use our credit advice section and see how other Credit Karma members have had experiences with that type of issue.
Credit Karma sounds wonderful. I'm excited to be able to introduce your website to my clients.
Yay!
A lot of people asking various forms of who do you share information with and is it safe?
Sure.
But we really answered that. You want to run through it one more time?
If anyone has specific questions about those types of things, or even specific questions about your own accounts, then definitely email us at support@creditkarma.com. We have a very skilled team of member support specialists who are ready and willing to answer your questions and get you the information that you need. Also, as I said before, please go and look at our security policies on our website. We have all of them laid out, not just the two that I mentioned with the 128-bit encryption and the read-only access, but we sort of walk you through those things. And I do think that it's really important for you to understand all of those types of questions before you introduce Credit Karma to your clients, because they'll likely have the same questions too.
Here's one that's interesting. A couple of people have asked similar questions. They're concerned if by checking Credit Karma, using Credit Karma regularly, is that considered an inquiry, and is that going to impact their credit score?
No, actually, that's a very popular myth about Credit Karma. When you check your own credit score, it does not count as a hard inquiry. It shows up as a soft inquiry on your credit report, and there's no impact on your credit score.
That's interesting. I never considered that. Do you have any credit unions that you partner with?
Yeah, we do, and actually we have a few credit unions that use our service, and then we also have some credit cards and maybe some loans as well. I'm not 100% sure. It's kind of a long list. And also we have in our reviews section, you'll see there's a banking reviews section where you can come and review your credit union. So I think credit unions are really sort of shaking things up in the world of banking, and I think they're doing a lot of positive things to sort of make the consumer a stakeholder in the company and really have that personalized aspect. So we really encourage people to come and review their own credit union on Credit Karma and share those experiences.
Great. If this is a partnership with lenders, will this cause an issue for our clients who have accounts in collections in regard to flagging them and starting collection calls, letters, etc., or even a court process for garnishment?
So it sounds like you're asking if like checking on Credit Karma sort of resets the clock. I think that's kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Okay. And again, as Charmaine mentioned, checking your credit score on Credit Karma is a soft inquiry. It doesn't alert anybody that you've started a Credit Karma account and they should start calling you. So no, that's not the case at all. And that's why we created this collections page, so that if your clients do have a collection account, they can see the details of that, get back to the name of the creditor that account belongs to, and decide what to do. But we're not in the business of alerting lenders to your presence on Credit Karma.
Some people weren't familiar with secured credit cards and were curious how that worked. Do you want to run it by them?
Yeah, so a secured credit card works just like a regular credit card, except that you have to use a cash deposit. So a lot of times it's somewhere in the realm of $300 to $500 that you deposit with the lender. And at that point you're saying, this amount will be used as my credit limit. So you're sort of backing yourself. It's not that they're extending you this credit limit that, that they're backing. But the nice thing about it, and the reason why it's like a normal credit card, is because it reports your credit payment activity to the credit bureaus. Secured credit cards traditionally require, or you can be approved for a secured credit card with a lower credit score, so they're very traditionally used as credit building products. It's a lot less of a risk because you're using your own cash. And for people who decide to take one of those products, typically what they might decide to do is make a small charge each month, maybe one grocery run or a gas run or a couple of gas runs, and then pay it off each month, and that'll help you build that steady credit history over time to then be able to be qualified for an unsecured credit card, which is a traditional credit card.
For someone with a thin credit file, what would be the best what would be the best account to open? It would be the secured. Maybe she means a company, which I'm sure you're not going to suggest. So,
yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend. We have a secured credit card section on Credit Karma, so you can see what options there are. But that, again, is really going to depend on that individual's situation, kind of what's going on in their own financial life.
Thank you so much for this training. I have so enjoyed it. I learned so much. All right. Well, I'd say, you answered just about all of the questions, and we're really over time now. I so want to thank you. This information, I'm sure, will be spread far and wide, and we at the Center for Financial Social Work really appreciate you're doing this for us. So thank you so much, and everybody on the call, we're taking next month off, and we'll be back in August with a speaker on student debt. That should be exciting. I know we all can use that or know someone who can use it. Thanks again to everybody, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye now.